we've been starting at 6 a couple nights. I noticed this meeting for 5:45, but might as well wait a few more minutes. The January 2nd, 2024 meeting of the West Haven ARPA Committee will now come to order. Will each member, paid professional, and city official state your name for the record? Ken Carney?
David Grudberg, Carmody Torrance, counsel to the committee.
Dwight Knowles.
Gary Perdo.
Iris Diaz.
Mike Last.
Okay, each member has received a copy of the agenda for tonight's meeting. Are there any proposed changes? No?
No.
Then the agenda stands. I'll now ask for a motion to forego the reading of the December 5th regular meeting minutes.
I make a motion to forego the minutes.
Okay. Do you have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I'd like a motion now to accept the December 5th, 2023 regular meeting minutes.
I make a motion to accept.
Okay. Do you have a second? Second, anyone? Second, okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. So those minutes are,
Yep.
those minutes are pages 5 to 10, just so you have them.
The minutes.
All right, a couple updates for you. Number one, I did make some cards on our meeting schedule.
Thank
Maybe,
you.
Mike, you won't miss so many meetings now, but you should get the card there.
Okay.
Now, Mike, if you get carjacked, and you're in your car, try to save this.
The
The
car.
wallet can go, the car can go, but try to
Gotcha,
save this.
just save the card.
Yeah.
I got it.
You want to give one to Mark? Okay, general update. So we're seeing roughly 13 million spent to date, and our larger projects are now coming into play. That would be the annex for the garage annex for the fire department in Allentown. That would be the police garage. That would be the Painter Park Fieldhouse, and it would be the Kerrigan boilers. And collectively, that's about $3.5–4 million in funds. We have some sub-recipient agreements that have not started yet, so we expect that money to start kicking in soon. I am concerned about the Navigator program at the library. UHY has suggested they change their application. I've called for a meeting on the 5th with UHY and our legal team to just go ahead and do that. We're not gonna wait for them to do it. They don't know what to do, no one's explained it to them, so we're gonna just change it and tell the library this is the application you should use to qualify and get those bills paid. We also expect a lot of drainage money to be spent over the next few months, okay? So with that said, we have some invoices, start on page 11. And we have a invoice for $12,687.50 from UHY Advisors. And that is invoice number 6304-13141. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, that'd be Gary. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, a quick housekeeping note. So I have a meeting on the 5th, later in the day, with the UHY accounts receivable person to go over each invoice. There was a large credit that we obtained of roughly $50,000 from UHY, and the way that they posted that credit is confusing. So I want to go back to the old style and just show me every invoice, show me the credit, let's see where we are, and we'll take it from there. We are also running out of money on the CARES Act management side, the soft costs. I'm gonna go before the council in February. I'm gonna ask for, I think, $300,000, okay, to fund this. So, that's where we are. Moving on to page 15. I have a $200 invoice from Jow Films, invoice number 1146. Do you have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, I have two Robert Half invoices, one for 2,083.73, one for 2,691.57. Those can be found on page 16 and 17. Do I have a motion to approve?
I make,
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we have the meeting minutes for the Child Development Center roof. So there was another pre-construction meeting. We had one back in August, September, and these guys never performed. This is the second one. I had the engineers there, I had the city there, I had the HVAC team there, and we got out of them, they may be starting in 2 weeks. I made it clear that any cold weather conditions would not be billed back to us, because as far as I'm concerned, this roof should have been done by now. And if they don't perform soon, I'm gonna go back to our legal team and talk about going to the next bidder. So those notes can be found on page 18, 19, and 20. Any questions on that? Next, we go to Parks Fund. I've got, I think, 5 invoices. First, I have the barrier gate near the sewage plant for $23.88 on page 21. This is approved by the committee to be done, and this is the invoice, and there's a picture on page 24 showing it done. And a before picture on page 25. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, on page 26, I have a $7,700 invoice from Ivy League Landscaping. And this is for Painter Park Playground. And this was also approved previously by this committee. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, move on to page 30, Contact Drive, Stantec. They did a study over there in the park. The park is flooding out the whole neighborhood. We put this under parks because most of the work will be done in the parks, and it will service Baldwin Street and Contact Drive. The project went out to bid. Stantec came in at $16.5, and we'd like to pay this bill. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, any discussion?
Ken, what kind of work did they do over at the park?
So what they discovered, they did a study. What they discovered is that Baldwin Street, since it's been paved, is now pitched towards the park. All that water is running into the park. They looked at Contact Drive, they looked at the whole surrounding area, and they have this program that does a model for, like, a 100-year rain, a 10-year rain, a 500-year rain. And it turns out that the park is literally the bowl for that entire district. And as a result, 8 houses get wiped out on a regular basis when there's a heavy rain. And what they're proposing, what they designed, is utilizing a right-of-way between 2 houses from the park to Contact to put in a 36-inch pipe. And what they discovered is that the pipe that's there is way too small, and it represents different sizes that don't work well. By putting in a 36-inch pipe, it will not only move the water, but it will act as a giant retaining tub, if you will, retainage tub, to hold the water and slowly get it out to stop from it going to people's homes. So they did the study on that, they did their due diligence, and now they give me specifications to go out to bid. Those specifications and plans were brought to procurement, and procurement asked me to go to CDM Smith and get their opinion. So I sent an email today telling CDM Smith we want them to do a peer review on what Stantec did, and they've agreed to do that. And then once that comes back, I'll put it out to bid.
Now, do we have the money to pay for the project for
Well,
the drainage?
we have money in parks to do that, and I'm thinking it's probably gonna be a $200,000 job, is my guess.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was expecting a lot more.
Yeah, yeah, it could be, but I'm just giving you a ballpark, so. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, I have Harrington,
Just one, on that, approval, the Stantec invoice, the form indicates no bidding. I understand that's wrong. I will fill in the information, yes, with the consent of the committee.
Perfect.
All right.
yeah, I know that went out to bid. Let me check with procurement tomorrow, it was a while ago. But it was definitely a bid process. I think, I remember them submitting, I'll find out, I'll remember, yeah. I'll make a note of that. Okay, moving on, we have Platt Avenue, Harrington and Sons at 2490, and this was to clear vegetation overgrowth on Platt Avenue.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
did I?
have,
I'm sorry, reliable fence, my apologies, go to page 32. Reliable fence for $2,288, for Morris Park, invoice number 1988. I do have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Okay, do you have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? That was for a galvanized, steel guardrail, 35 linear feet. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we go to page 33, and here I have Harrington and Sons to clear brush along Platt Avenue, 2490. Invoice number 0550. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we go to the food banks. I don't have a good answer for you. Marb has not seen this yet. Some of the food banks recipients are still working on budgets and things. I will try to clear this up in February. Stormwater management. We have, of the $1 million, we owe CDM Smith probably about $60,000 to $80,000. Their entire $500,000 expense is coming out of here. The remainder is being used by the grants department for matching funds for large grants, which they've been successful at getting. The 1,470 problem areas that has been is in the works, and we have spent roughly $166,000 on that. We now have Cerulli working and the city working simultaneously, and they're using the CDM Smith report as their guide to repair or replace catch basins, to repair or replace broken pipes, to snake pipes, clean them out, and also to catch people who are illegally tied in to the stormwater sewer with sanitary sewer. So that's what's happening. Okay? Any questions on that?
Are you still happy with the progress that they're
Yeah,
making?
CDM Smith's been great. You know, for the first time, I feel like we have like a well-written, defined report that details all of the deficiencies citywide, and it's low-hanging fruit. For the $1.2 million we have left, we can fix all that.
Great.
So. Next, I have the Recycling and Reuse Center. I'm gonna tell you that's still in design. And I do have a bill from those guys, on page 35, for $7,250. Do you have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We move on to broadband access for the library. Again, this is gonna be addressed on the meeting, the Zoom meeting on the 5th. And we'll get their application to the residents straightened out, and we'll start paying their invoices. City Hall windows. We had the abatement bid come in at roughly $190, and on January 16th, the window bids will come in. We move on to Fire District in Allentown. The first thing we have is action required. They want to take $100,000 out of their ARPA allotment and use it to fund their radios. So they will have roughly 900,000 left for their building, which should be enough money. Do you have a motion to move 100,000 to the radios?
I make a motion.
Do you have a second? Okay, any discussion?
Does that need, city council approval, or can we, do we have authority to move that money?
So my understanding is, the city council has approved the allotment, and providing we spend it within the, just, you know, within the guidelines of the, resolution, we're okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll check the resolutions. My memory of all three of the 1.025 fire district appropriations was they were very broad.
Okay.
Because each one has different things in mind, and I also just made a note, I wanna check compliance on that as well, making sure the 100K for the radios.
Yep.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was just for a specific project, or was it?
No, it's pretty
broad
general.
enough
It was
where
very,
they could
yeah.
use it.
My memory is very general. We'll check the city council resolutions authorizing the appropriation, and then I also want to check in tandem with UHY on the compliance. I know the plans that were initially presented were permissible, and didn't have to go into the, revenue loss column.
Right.
Perfect.
Do you have a motion to, we have a motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, moving on to page 38. Here we have Russell and Dawson, and this is an invoice for $7,500 for the Allentown garage for design. Do you have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do you have a second?
I second.
Any discussion?
What's the total contract for their design?
That would be on page 40.
40, okay.
Is that the- No, that's not that, I'm sorry, hold on. That's A&S Electrical. Mike, I don't have it here, but I think it was 20,500, it's on page 38.
Okay, so they're about, what, a third through?
No, we're done,
Oh, they completely done, okay.
yeah. We have 4,000 left for construction administration, which they haven't started, but they've done all the documents and everything.
Awesome.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Okay, West Shore, I guess we're waiting on MARB approval for that one. And the camera project is going very well. A&S is doing a great job digging and placing the wire. The camera guys themselves are outstanding. They come down once a week, they check on progress, they're doing what they can until the wiring's done. This is gonna be a really nice project. A&S has an invoice here, it's payment number 2 for $111,354.72. I go down once a week, I check progress, I gotta tell you that this is a invoice that not only do I approve for my site visits, but Phil from PH Lens, is PH Lens? HP Lens, he's the engineer on the job, and he has approved this, and you can find that approval on page 40. HF Lens, I'm sorry. Too many engineers. Do you have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Do you have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on, we have EMS premium pay is now between the fire department and MARP. We're waiting for direction on that. Camera and sound for meeting rooms, this is all done. And they're doing training on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th is my understanding. Next, go to page 43, and this is the invoice for a change order from DNR Labs. $4,371. Do you have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do you have a second?
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we go into Haley School ADA ramp. This is now a spring project, and the low bidder was $57,100. Any questions on that? Go to page 44. And this is Stantec's invoice for the ramp. Invoice number 2172657 for $8,500. Do you have a motion to approve?
So moved.
we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we have the punch list for the field turf. So I went down there, spent a lot of time. I asked Rich Fowler from Franks and Fest to do an inspection. The field is in good shape. There are several things not done, but the problem is the fencing that was installed is horrendous. It is a 9-gauge versus a 6-gauge. It is not tied off properly. It is not placed on the poles properly. It's actually a danger to people who go up to the fence and get the sharp wire on them. There's no guards. There's holes underneath the fence the balls can get under on the softball field. The gates that are on the softball field literally have a 6-inch gap between the two leaves. The football fence has the same problem. They did speed ties. They're the wrong ties. There's not enough of them. It's an absolute mess. So I've written up a 3-page punch list supported by pictures. I've taken their request for payment off the agenda. I should have included the punch list tonight. I didn't. I apologize. But that is going out to Chris Hulk at Field Turf tomorrow, telling him we're not accepting this fencing, along with all the things he hasn't completed. All right, so that's where we are there. Any questions? Okay, next we have the HVAC at Noble Community Center rooftop units. You saw in the report, those are on order and expected to come in March. Nothing with the electrical main breakers. And in the Kerrigan boilers, we are going out to bid. If you go to page 45, I filled out this form that procurement wants filled out now, and it sort of answers all their questions. And if you turn the page, here is the details of the dates of the walkthrough. And what I think it's better that I provide the walkthrough dates, because I know the job pretty well. When I don't provide walkthrough dates, we get dates that don't generally match the scope of work. So that's why I'm providing the dates now. So there's no issues. So that's page 45 and 46. Any questions on that? Okay, I do have on page 47 an invoice from HF Lens. So HF Lens is Kerrigan. I misspoke. Who's the engineer?
HP. So.
Yeah. The engineer for the cameras is another guy. I can't think of his name right now. But HF Lens is the Kerrigan boiler engineer design team. They're looking for $54,255.25. That's consistent with their contract. And I'd like a motion to approve that invoice.
Motion to approve.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, I've got the bleacher repair at Veterans Field. Nothing there yet. Community mental health, it says that the Bridges contract is waiting to be signed. The mayor actually signed it. It was sent back to Bridges, and we're off to the races. We expect invoices coming in soon on that, from that subrecipient. Next, we have aid to small business. We had 3 additional applications. Those are being reviewed by UHY. I'll have a report for you in February on that. Next, we have support for the arts community funding that is sitting in contracts. And next, we have the Storage Shed Police Department. Go to page 48. Here's another procurement form filled out. And then if you turn the page, you'll have the dates for the walkthrough, the RFI period, and when the bids are due. And we do have an invoice for the police station for $9,600 from Russell Dawson. I'd like on page 50, I'd like a motion to accept that.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Any
Second.
discussion? Give it to Gary. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, finally, to report, I've got the Kerrigan School Playscape. That is literally 95% done. We are looking at just the permanent lines to be painted on the basketball court and the pickleball courts, and that will be 100% done. The nets are there, the fencing is there, the pavement is there, everything's working great, and it's also being used as a gym class. Any questions on any projects from anybody? Is there any new business from any member? All right, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Have a wonderful night. Happy New Year, and thanks for being here.
Thank you.